Best MCU film ever! I am not even kidding. I pretty much loved everything about it. It was phenomenal. Oh my god, so good. Just so good. Okay, before I start talking about Far From Home, let me just say I wasn't a big fan of SpiderMan Homecoming. It was good, but I found most of the decisions made in that film to be very dumb. I didn't like the direction they took with the character here, in which he's basically Tony Stark's student instead of his own hero. But, I mean, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero ever, so I always continue to support whatever Spider-Man film comes out. And Far From Home looked very great and I got excited, but at the same time, I was a little worried. So I'm just insanely happy that it managed to surpass my expectations. First of all, you should probably watch Endgame before watching this movie. Although I'm pretty sure everyone already has by now. But yeah, this movie takes place shortly after Endgame and actually explains things about the snap, or in this case the blip as this movie calls it, that we didn't already know previously. So I like that they actually answered questions that some people have been asking. This movie shows more of Peter's struggles with being a normal teen while also trying to follow in Iron Man's footsteps. Throughout the film, the struggles he goes through are very understandable, and what helps with this is the performance from Tom Holland, who still does an excellent job as Peter Parker. He gives the right kind of emotion needed for each scene. He once again reminds us why he is the best actor to ever play Spider-Man. Every single performance in this movie is great, and every character really has their moments. Even MJ got a major improvement. In Homecoming, I didn't really care for her. She had no reason to be there other than setting up the reveal that she is MJ. And I also remember rolling my eyes at that reveal. But she does a lot more in this movie and is very useful. The movie also does a great job at developing the relationship between Peter and MJ. Tom Holland and Zendaya have excellent chemistry. This definitely feels like a proper high school relationship. Also, with Peter having a crush on Liz and now MJ, it's clear that he definitely has a thing for dark-skinned females, and I'm all here for it. He must really like the new Ariel in the live-action Little Mermaid. Sorry, I just had to work that into this review somehow, so yeah. Another thing I was disappointed with in Homecoming was the absence of Peter's SpiderSense. There wasn't a single scene that utilized it and made me think they forgot about it. But here, not only do they remember to include it, it plays a big part in the film, although they never actually refer to it as SpiderSense in this movie. Aunt May hilariously calls it the Peter Tingle, and Aunt May definitely makes my Peter tingle. I also want to point out that this is the funniest Spider-Man movie ever. I laughed quite a lot. Nearly every joke lands for me. It's nice to see that they are still able to have a sense of humor after the events of Endgame. Of course, the action is absolutely impressive. It's both entertaining and visually impressive. The final action scene really shows how badass this version of Spider-Man really is. There's also this one scene that is not only expertly done, but also my favorite scene in the MCU. And I have Mysterio to thank for that. And at this point, I think I should just put this spoiler warning here because I can't really talk about him without getting into spoilers. Ready? Okay. Just like in the comics, Mysterio is the villain. He uses projection tech and motion capture to fool people into thinking that he's a hero when he's really not. He's kind of like Syndrome in a way. I feel like people will either love or hate the direction they go with for this character, but I think it works pretty well here and fits the story. I actually thought he was pretty intimidating. Jake Gyllenhaal was also the perfect choice to play the character. He does it so well. There are also two post-credit scenes, which I won't spoil here, but they are both very important, especially the mid-credit scene. I was genuinely in shock after that scene. There's even something that happened that got the audience to applause. Anyway, as for my negatives, well, aside from a few small nitpicks, I actually can't think of any, which I honestly found very surprising. It just goes to show how great this movie is. Far From Home is my new favorite film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and my second favorite Spider-Man film overall. Yeah, I still think Into the Spider-Verse is way better, but hey, at least Far From Home managed to be the best live-action Spider-Man film. It's also the best movie I've seen this year. Yeah, I thought it was better than Rocketman. I really had a blast watching it. Far From Home is far from being a bad film.